in history in 2025 with 4.7 million visitors. Just so you know, 2024 had 4,744,353, which was the second busiest year. Now it's the third busiest year. So 2025, second busiest year in Yellowstone National Park history. The only other news story I was going to talk about is a very brief one about how ravens in the park have been now known to follow and hang out where wolves hunt. And the ravens will kind of hang out in that area, even if the wolves aren't there, knowing that the wolves are going to eventually hunt there. Ravens are very smart, and they can recognize faces for a long time. They know individual cars. They are extremely smart creatures. So this isn't really news per se, but it was a scientific study that actually proves that these ravens are hanging out in known wolf hunting corridors, which is pretty cool. And also it means that if you see a bunch of ravens around, hang out there a little bit. It might be a good place to stop and scan. I'll provide the link to that study or article in the show notes to this if you want to know more. My experience of the week. Go scan blacktail ponds. I've mentioned blacktail ponds, I think a week or two ago. Every week blends together, I'm sorry. But blacktail ponds is one of these places that in the spring is one of the most compelling places to witness the transition from winter to spring in Yellowstone National Park for wildlife watching. As far as like seeing things in spring, like you think wildflowers or blooms or things like that, it's not that interesting. But wildlife-wise, it's fantastic. The ponds, just a few miles east of Mammoth, sit in a broad, open valley along the park's northern range. The area is pretty cool weather-wise, no pun intended. The snowpack is lighter here than at the higher elevations, but the temperature is pretty cold as it doesn't get a ton of direct sunlight until later in the winter or early spring. And that's what makes this a really cool place for wildlife watching. The ponds and bogs freeze over and melt and freeze over and melt because it's not a super, super cold place. And what happens is the bison are going to walk across that every year, frequently crossing the ponds and surrounding boggy flats, and all winter long, some animals become trapped in the mud or icy water and are unable to escape. According to the National Park Service, natural winter mortality is an important ecological process in Yellowstone, and these carcasses that are left on the landscape provide a vital source for scavengers and predators. At Blacktail, this process is especially visible since it's right next to the road. This winter, 3 bison are said to have died at Blacktail Ponds, each frozen and hidden during the winter. Now that spring is here, they're becoming visible again. As I mentioned previously in the wildlife report, one of the bison carcasses is visible, and eagles and crows and ravens and magpies and all of those are eating at it. One reason I'm recommending it right now is this is about the time of year that a grizzly will come out emerging from their dens and try to find easy food. This is easy food, the carcasses in the Blacktail Ponds. This is a well-known area, so grizzlies know to come here. While at the time of recording, there isn't a grizzly out there, I almost guarantee that there will be a bear here in the next couple days, weeks, or month.